Hello YouTube! I am Pinstar, and this is Startup Freak Strategy and Tactics Episode 2. So in our last episode, we got our company off the ground and we have finally defeated the tutorial. And thus have unlocked all of the possible options and decisions for us to make. We have filled out and fleshed out our 2 employees, hiring a skill 4 design person, a skill 1 sales and marketing person, and training them up to skill 5. So they are working away for us. But today we are going to tackle probably one of the biggest burning questions in here. How do we fight churn? Where does churn come from? And how do we keep ourselves from hemorrhaging users? Now I mentioned on it in our first episode, but we're going to expand on it and demonstrate it in our next. Right then, let's take a look at our sprint. Now, we just finished up our first level of market research. This has opened up this section here, and actually has thrown a few requested features into the mix here. And I do have some choice words regarding requested features. I will get to them in due time. But what we want to do is we actually kind of want to expand out to here. So we took a bite out of the top half here, so we've got to take a bite out of the bottom half as well, just to make sure we have enough room for everything. We also got to get this little annoying nib here. So more market research is where it's going to be at. Request for the developer: can we get some? Can we get the fog of war highlight lit to show what parts of it will be actually taken away by the placement of the circle? Because that way we don't have any lingering tiles like these. I'd much rather go down here, but these need to go. So yeah, just if you don't mind, that would be awesome. I think right there will be good, but I hope that's good enough to nix this fog of war down here. Right then, we are still working on our infrastructure and our branding. But we have a few other things that we need to get going here, and this is where we want more dev going to our name here, because we've got a couple of special things that we need to start programming in. The first one is, remember how I was saying that our stars here are going to be decaying? One of the ways that you can get more stars, more rating points out of your different features, is by boosting their performance. So now performance is one of the items that we've unlocked here. Performance works best, you know, at its surface it looks like that's not very effective. It gets more effective when you build performance boosters in a straight line. Allow me to demonstrate. If we say shuffle it over here, we get that. Now it's a 2x2. Now it's a 3x3, and more, and more, and more, and more. Not only does it get wider, but it gets deeper. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 is actually the width that we want to build this in. Now notice down here, dev effort 35, design effort 0. All of our special items here, testing, performance, and security, are all purely on the back of dev. And if there is an error that I made earlier in my playthrough, it wasn't boosting my my guy's level, our founder's level. Now, one of the things we want to do is try to get into our next office so that we can hire more people, because one of those new people is going to be another developer, so we can boost our team's dev capacity up much higher. But for now, this is what we're going to be working with. Now, another item that I want to point out here, and this is why we left this little hole here, is testing. Now, with performance, you want performance to cover as many, pretty much all the 100% of the sprint. You know, you want the box from performance to cover both the design portions and the technical portions. That's not true with testing. Testing only needs to cover the technical parts for it to do its thing. So your placement of the technical components within your pieces should be done with testing in mind. Now, my little build here has a pretty sweet spot for our testing. We can throw down a single block of testing, and if we rotate the triangle like such, we cover all of these blocks with testing, but we only need to build one block of testing. So this is extremely efficient. This is about as efficient as you can get. I mean, I guess we could put technical components here and here, but that would throw the ratio off. So, boom, there's our testing. We'll get to security in due time. At this point, a security breach is unlikely, but also our number of users is small, so the increase in churn that a security breach would cause would not really harm us or affect us one way or the other. That becomes more problematic down the line when you're bigger and have a larger user base. Right then. So the other thing we can do is we're at a brand level of 2, which means we can go down to our branding and get a new logo to get the 2% boost. Now, at the moment, the effect that branding has on our stuff is really minimal. It'll boost the visitors by 2%. So what, like 20 people? And even then, a very small percentage of our visitors turn into signups. So we might get maybe one more signup per month. It'll add up eventually, and it doesn't cost you anything to utilize new branding. So might as well use it. And since we don't have anything else for our design team to do anything, we might as well work on branding. There's no harm in it. It's just very minimal in its benefit to you now, but becomes a lot more important later on. Right then, let us sprint. Level 3 branding, let's just tick it up. Again, don't cost nothing for you to do these. And as far as which logo you want, it doesn't really matter as long as you get the highest boost. All right, they're slowly ticking away there. Part of me wants to turn off infrastructure development, because see, here's the problem. Our infrastructure is demanding time away from our boosting here and our test thing here. I think for the moment I'm going to take infrastructure off the table so that our founder can work a little bit more diligently on working on these other 2 items. Because that will allow us to get out a few more features sooner rather than later. All right, we got our next bit of market research. Let's see here. The price of your new releases plan is getting close to where it should be, but it is too high. Consider lowering it a bit. Okay, so when it comes to tweaking your prices here, I would recommend lower it by 5. If it says a bit too high, lower it by 5. If it says way too high or way too low, alter it by 10. And then if it tells you to go in the opposite direction, like if it said lower it this one, but then it says it's a bit too low, then we creep it back up again by 1s until we get to that perfect spot, and it stops saying that we need to change it. So we're going to go from 75 to 70. We also, I didn't see all the other items it gave us. Bug free, that's good. I'll be covering probably in our next episode feature upgrades as far as how to bring those into play. You do not need to worry about them in the super early game. They are too much development work for us to really get a lot of benefit out of them yet. But in time, they will become extremely cold emails will attract a larger number than cold calls if we spend more than 20K. Okay. So again, now that we've finished our market research, we want to get more market research. Even if we don't necessarily need more market research immediately, we kind of want to make that happen and just keep carving out space. Never let our salesperson be idle. Constantly do research, because not only is beating back the fog of war here very important, but it also gives us background information on our stuff that we'll be making a lot more use out of later. All right, yeah, we're working on this part here, our performance booster. So I think we'll let our development tick away there. All right, we've got level 1 seek investors. Now I think what I'm going to do here, oh man, our servers are on fire. Yeah, let's, so one of the sources of churn, even if you have a really good rating, if your network cannot keep up with your users' demand, that will cause churn. So make sure your servers are ideally in the green. Even yellow flashing servers will cause a little bit of churn. So keep an eye on your servers and add more capacity as needed. In fact, we're already starting to spike up a little bit on capacity here, so I don't want to be not working on infrastructure for too long here. That said, I do want to get this boosted going here so I can work on some of my other things. We're still in the green here for our features, but again, every time we hit that sprint button, these bars go down. We'll soon be at the 50% mark for our number of features. But again, we do need to get some infrastructure here to support our features and maximize their effectiveness. Spamming out just brand new features is viable, and we'll certainly get this part going here. But in the long run, you're probably going to run out of space, and you want to sort of maximize the effectiveness of this. Now, as far as our investors here, what I like to do is once we get our first investor, I like to go in, hit them up for cash. Because we can be a little bit of aggressive in terms of negotiating with them, because if they walk away from the deal, we're not about to go bankrupt, so we can actually get another level of seek investors if needed. And if it's not needed, if we get a good deal out of the first one, and we're back, sorry. So what I meant to finish saying here is if we are able to get a good investor, if we can get a little greedy and they don't turn us completely down, then we can immediately start swapping our focus from seeking investors to upping our offices and supplies, as that will be extremely important. And again, the other reason why we took that extra point in operations. So you know what? Let us go and seek that investor, because if we get greedy and they completely turn us down, we have enough capital to not die and until we get up another investor, and then we can be a little more conservative with our stuff there. All right, Miranda. She's very active on social media and has a large following. She often finishes her sentence with "I rest my case." All right, let us begin the investment pitch. Now, as far as these go, there's social media. I mean, you can generally over time guess what blurbs point to what sweet spots for her. Like, for example, I rest my case, she likes legal. As far as active on social media, probably sales and marketing, possibly UI, or UX rather. But I always do like to lead with a question here. So she doesn't care about security and she does not care about finances. Well, let's hit the thing that we know she likes. Boom, excellent. Now, let's hit up sales and marketing. Yep, that's her other sweet spot. Look at that. Wow, that is her uber sweet spot. In fact, I'm willing to bet that when we get her on board, if we get her on board, she's going to give us a bonus to our sales and marketing levels, which is awesome. That's definitely a skill we like to have. Right then, let's circle back to legal. Not as effective this time. Oh wow, boy, she really likes sales and marketing. Well, let's just bounce. I don't like to hit it at the same time. And then, yeah, now it's starting to wear off. Infrastructure, sales and marketing. Yeah, now she's bored of sales and marketing. Still, we got her pretty darn high. Now, when it comes to adjusting her offer, my original video had me dropping down the percentage here, but we're going to be going for only one investor here. And I'm willing to say that the percentage, whatever percentage they set's fine. What we're more interested in is the capital. We want more. Now, we don't want to go to risk of high, but we do want risk of low. Now, yeah, we're right on the edge here. So there's a chance that she will just completely walk away from the deal. Which is fine because we've got some bandwidth here. We can get a little greedy. Or she might counteroffer us. I'm willing to accept a counteroffer. Let's see what she says. She counters to 225 for 17. That's still 25K more than she originally asked for. So you know what? We're going to accept that because that's pretty darn good. All right, we've got our investor on board. Aha! See, I knew it! She's giving bonuses to sales and marketing. So our sales and marketing efforts are going to be even more effective now. Sales 6. Perfect. And that effect will be with us throughout the whole game. Right then. As far as everything else, let's check our servers. We just installed the servers. We do need to push through the... Oh yeah, hang on. Now that we got our investor on board, we can swap over to office and supplies. Because this is more important at the moment for the office than for the supplies at the moment. Because honestly, the level 1 office supplies are complete garbage that you should not waste your money on. Right then. Dink. All right, we've got our market report. We've got our branding. Yeah, radio ads will attract larger than corporate. So yeah, radio ads are usually a pretty good thing. New releases is getting close, but should be lowered. Okay. So they want us a bit too high. So once again, we knock it down $5. All right. We are still churning away at this thing here. Yeah, there's not too much else we can do other than continuously getting more and more market research done, which is what we want to do anyway. Let's start actually market researching in this direction here, since we can get a fair bit done. Actually, we're going to keep it a little bit lower here. We'll take a chunk out of it. We might as well be efficient. But that way our salesperson is not idle. Now notice our churn, after we've done another sprint here, has gone up a little bit because now our star quality is now in the yellow. Our features, as shiny as they are, just aren't as shiny as they used to be. But we will be remedying that soon. All right, our traffic is still good. All right, finally got our next feature built. Now, as far as requested features go, I think a balanced approach to these is a good idea. Like, for example, this one's kind of the way. This one's in the way of what I want to do and where I want to build. So I'm actually going to stomp on it. This one, on the other hand, actually fits into our build perfectly. I'm not going to build it right away, but it is still going to work in our favor. Right then, so what we're going to do here, I'm going to line up my next bit of support here, and that is security, because we have been without it for too long. And we're going to do a nice thick strip of security right down the middle, a firewall, if you will. The other thing we're going to do is we're going to mirror this right here on the other side. We're actually going to finally start working on another feature. So design, tech, design, leave that space there. Boom. And now we can take out branding because now our design team is going to be isn't going to be quite so bored. Right then, I will put back infrastructure once we get these core things completed. All right, level 1 office supplies. Like I said, let the actual office supplies, this crap right here, don't bother. It's too weak for too much money. Just don't bother. All right, boom, got our next market research. Barker ads. The oldies plan is getting close, but it is too high. All right, so oldies needs to be dropped by $5. Boom. All right, how are we doing here? Doing just fine, actually. Working on these, and we'll be getting some lower hanging fruit soon enough. What we really need to do is need to unlock our next office here. That's what's really going to kind of help us catch up. And this is one of the other big mistakes that people make, is that, you know, keeping pace with development, keeping pace with the decay here. As you can see, we are already losing ground on signups, and our churn is just going to get more and more and more. Keeping pace with those is not possible in just the starter office. Even if you have really well-trained and well-defined employees, it just doesn't work. So you need to expand sooner rather than later. That's why we switched instantly. As soon as we were able to get our first investor, we switched ourselves to that so we can start making our way to the next office. The next office coming at rank 2 for this. Right then. All right, we've got our new feature. That will actually help us out. Look at that. Boom! 29. That new feature is getting shiny. And not to mention, these have both been boosted by this. Actually, this has been boosted as well. But I want to point something out here, something very important. So the boosted effect here, if you remember correctly, these little ones used to only be worth a 3, and these used to be worth only a 9. Which is exactly how many tiles they each represented. However, now that we've got a booster in play, now the math gets a little skewed. We picked up an extra 0.35 because it has been boosted here, but here we picked up an extra 2 whole points. If you run the numbers on that, we actually got a bigger benefit per tile for our larger features than the smaller ones. That's because larger features are more efficient when it comes to handling and utilizing the bonuses that they are given by other things. At this moment, the performance booster later on upgrades. So like I said, you want a healthy mixture of the two. You want a mixture of these bigger features, but numerous little ones too, just to keep up your count. Now, speaking of, let us get our test up here. We'll point the triangle in the other direction. And yeah, that's right. We've got another feature to go here. We're mirroring this on the other side. Now, what are we going to do with these little gaps here? I'll show you once we've progressed a little bit further. But we don't want to overburden our dev team or our dev person. This will go a lot faster once we can hire another dev person, and this is why we're going to be hiring another dev person along with an ops person. I tell you right now, that is exactly who we are hiring once we get to our next office. There's no question about it. There's our next office. Servers are on fire. Let's get some servers. Our new office isn't going to help that. And actually at this point I do need to get infrastructure back in there. But yeah, let's get to our next office. I do not care if it is double the rent. We need the employee space. Right then, let us... Yeah, I don't have any furniture for a reason, because all that furniture is crap. Level 1 ops person with a crappy attitude. Next. Don't need sales. Don't need design. Dang it. All right, well, we're going to have to wait for our stuff to shuffle here. Yeah, but in the meantime, I'm going to be keeping this in there because we can't fall too far behind or we'll be in trouble. Now, notice how churn has dropped. Churn was starting to creep up to signups, but after we added this Big McLarge feature and we're back on the green, churn is nice and low. That's how you grow yourself. Now, we're still not profitable yet, but that's okay. You got to reach a turning point before you can call yourself truly profitable. Ooh, a 4 max development with a good attitude. Welcome aboard. And no. Okay, we've got our dev. We got our dev team working here. Oop, and we've got a bug. Yeah, these things do not make you immune to bugs. It just reduces their rate. Oh, we finished our other feature here. Our design work is not being utilized here. So we got to do something about that. Our security's almost done here, though. Yeah, let's work on branding just a little bit more. Now, with an extra developer on the team here, this will go a lot faster. And our ops person is still that crappy attitude ops person. We need a true thing. That doesn't bother us. We already have their money. Oh, and I haven't been doing market research. Dang it, dang it, dang it. Our salesperson has been idle. That's the one thing I wish you could queue up market research because yeah, that was my error. All right, feature complete, bug fixed. All right, we've got our stuff here. Our security, that is. That will help us prevent some hacks. Now we need to add a few more things, a few more features to be certain, and a few more bits of security, because right now our security is not complete. We're at 83%. You can see there are some holes in our security. That's okay. We'll be fixing that. But first, we want to throw down a test. Well, actually, we don't need a test just yet. We need a couple more smaller features. We're going to do a tech design. And add that to the sprint. We're also going to do a tech design on this side. See how everything is delightfully mirrored? We're also going to throw down some testing so that we can test these up. Now, we do have ourselves a requested feature down here, and I'm not going to stomp on that because that actually doesn't get in the way. What we want to do is want to make sure the triangle is covering this. So that will cover that, and that should cover these two. So there's a way to... Yeah, this actually looks a little bit better. I think this will cover it. So we'll cover that as well. We can't build this until these things are finished. But we should be good now. We can take off branding, so our design person is still golden. And actually, what I think I'm going to do is I think I'm going to train up our CEO. We'll let our dev person, our extra dev person, handle the ranch for a little bit while we get our CEO up. Training up your CEO is a good idea because they don't demand a higher salary. In fact, one of the things you can do is you can nix their salary. They're not going to complain. That'll cut your expenses. All right, those are building up. And now he is at a 7 development. Whenever you train someone with multiple skills, it is always at their highest skill. Oh, and we have an ops person. Oh, an ops dev. Oh, yes. We need more dev. We need more dev. So please and yes, thank you, ops plus dev person. Wonderful. That I could not have asked for any more than that, because we do need to also start cranking away at our infrastructure, because we're already in the yellow and we can't expand it any further beyond this server rack. I'm just going to load this up with fuchsias. And hopefully we can turn the corner on that. I might actually stop doing development just so we can pour our focus into here once we finish our build here. Do want to finish our build, because that's going to help bring in more people. All right, we've got our test feature complete. The other thing we need to add here, and this is what's going to complete the security here, is 1, 2, 1, 2, oh, 1, 2. Yes, I know it conflicts. Like I said, we're stomping on that one. So having security in these things will actually tighten the place up to the point where, actually, do we have? Yeah, we've got everything filled up. Well, I'm not going to trash anything else, but boom, boom, boom. Let's get our user requested feature here, this little rinky-dink one, because it is low-hanging fruit, and it is still covered by our booster here. Normally this is not part of the build, but there's no reason to stomp on it, and it's really easy to make use of. We'll make use of this one soon enough, but because it's all tech stuff, we're going to help finish this up. We also want to get branding back on there, because our design aren't going to take very long to get that. Okay, let's see. New releases plan is getting, but it is too high. We'll try lowering it. Okay, so we can drop you to 60. And we got, yeah. Well, actually, now that we've hit Office Level 3, we can actually start making people happy by getting some actually legitimately good Office stuff. These NG chairs will make everyone's thing. Mount escape. Here, whoever's unhappy, we'll just put it near them. I don't think proximity really matters, but still, we. Oh wait. Yeah, we don't want the 2% stuff. We want the 3% stuff. Yeah, we can get the. We can put a TV in here. Yeah, not a lot of 3% stuff, but we get the chairs, and that's what's important. So that should cheer her up just a touch. All right. How is your... Yeah, you should be on the mend now. Just got to slowly recover your happiness. All right, we've got 5 features that all fired at the same time. So this, my friends, is actually my build right here. Now, the build itself is actually this square in the sense of this 7 tiles here, but we build these securities so that they hook into others. Because guess what? We're going to repeat the pattern. This right here, this security 1, 2, 3, security down here is going to repeat itself in this being the 1, 2, 3 over here. And that's how I like to build stuff. And now look at our ratings here. We've got ourselves 42 stars, 8 features. The only reason we're at 95% is that we just need a special case of security down here just to cover our special little thing down here, our little extra feature here. That's not part of the standard build, but the standard build is giving us a good little boost, 3.14 as a requested feature. Requested features are also supposed to boost just in general your signups and churn. Though I'm not entirely sure of the math behind that, exactly how much, because I do know the fact that they're requested gives them a quality rating, so you get more stars out of it for the same amount of blocks. So yeah, I don't have the math on that one, but we should be still pretty good, and we're going to continue eating away at here just so that we can expand ourselves this way. All right, we are still doing pretty darn good. We are not profitable yet, but that's okay. As long as we're not about to go bankrupt, we're fine. We're perfectly fine. We're growing, our churn is low, our signups are pretty darn healthy. Our visitors are pretty healthy for the fact that we're only spending that, and we can even increase it further because I think we hit our branding level ups here. So let's get you for a 5% boost in branding. Excellent. All right, so in our next episode, we are going to continue growing and hopefully reach ourselves to the point of profitability. So if you like this episode and you want to see more like it, go ahead and hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and leave me a comment, good, bad, or indifferent. Your feedback's always welcome. So until next time, this has been Pinstar signing out. See ya.